Just come out and say it, Simon. The new Disney Star Wars stuff sucks.
Hello, I started this gangster shit. This the motherfucking thanks I get. Hello, I started this gangster shit. And this the motherfucking thanks I get. Hello.
Hey everyone, Comic Artist Pro Secrets here. Thanks very much. I'm Ethan Van Sciver, 25-year veteran of the comic book industry, illustrator of future Canadian Prime Minister Dr. Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, creator of Cyberfrog Blood Honey, the biggest crowdfunded comic book of all time, world's most charming man, great big Star Wars fan. Great to be with you here today. Simon Pegg. Now we've spoken about Simon Pegg before. This guy, again, every time he's asked about Star Wars, he's got a little attitude on him. He's got a little attitude on him about Star Wars. He's not crazy about it, and I think he's just kind of, being a little wishy-washy. Just come out and say it. Simon, it's horrible, and you know it is. Now, last time we heard from Simon Pegg, he was defending his friend J.J. Abrams from the horrible onslaught of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. Ryan, he made it so that, he suggested in the movie The Last Jedi, that Rey's parents were people of no importance at all, just regular garbage people. They were garbage humans, as Anita might have said, and therefore, that kind of put an end to the mystery of who Rey's parents actually were. Now, J.J. Abrams was thoroughly upset by this and conveyed it to Simon Pegg, and Simon Pegg came out and said, I was talking to J.J., and he said, no, that's not what he wanted to do. That's not what he wanted to do with Rey's parents. He had different ideas. Now, of course, there's a way to circumvent all of that. All you have to do is just say that Kylo Ren is a liar, and he was trying to deceive Rey, and of course, that is just in the spirit of Star Wars. That just echoes everything that's come before, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Kenobi, lying to Luke Skywalker about the fate of his father and who his father was, and then you find out the truth. Some things are just said to sort of sway a young Jedi Force user on their path. So that totally makes sense and it's fine, but it's interesting that JJ was initially irritable about it and let Simon Pegg know. I did a whole video about it, Simon Pegg just saying, man, JJ didn't like that. So JJ's going to have to do a lot of work to walk back a lot of what Rian Johnson screwed up in the last movie. This is Episode 9 is the last movie of a disjointed, weird trilogy that doesn't really hang together because, I don't know, it was just kind of a game of musical chairs, essentially, in terms of creative people. And there's no through line. They didn't discuss the movie. It's like JJ made the first movie and said, Ryan, hey, round-headed fellow, go ahead and do whatever you want to do from here. Take the story from here. And a little did JJ know that he was going to have to be called on later to actually finish the story. And JJ is not somebody who ends stories very well. He has difficulty ending stories. He's great at setting things up, terrible at ending them. So unfortunately, that is where he finds himself now. He's going to have to end a story, end a trilogy, something that he's not comfortable with, that it's not really in his wheelhouse. And on top of that, he's going to have to clean up after Rian Johnson. This is going to be a disaster unless angels fly down and sit on J.J. Abrams' shoulder. Let's hope that they do. In the meantime, Simon Pegg comes out and, he says something interesting. He says, this new Star Wars films are missing George Lucas. And of course, hold on, didn't you hate the prequels? Yeah, a lot of us had mixed feelings about the prequels. We did, and we just didn't know what we were missing, I'm afraid. We didn't know what we had until it's gone, and it is gone now. I feel you, Simon. Let's read this article here. It's a quick one. Mission Impossible and Star Trek actor Simon Pegg has been discussing all things Star Wars on the latest episode of the Adam Buxton podcast, and he's made quite the revelation. Speaking to Hot Fuzz co-star Buxton, Pegg reveals that the imagination of George Lucas, the man who created the franchise, is missing from the current sequel trilogy, Episodes 7, 8, and 9. Let's talk about that for a minute. In this day, we are now in a post-Stan Lee world. Stan Lee just died yesterday. And you look at the imagination and brilliance of Stan Lee, and you look at the imagination and brilliance of George Lucas. These people created great things for other lesser beings, other lesser creative forces, and sometimes people who aren't creative at all, to step in and destroy. And we've seen it happen to Marvel Comics. Even while Stan Lee was alive, he was begging them, please don't make Spider-Man gay. Please don't make Spider-Man something other, or Peter Parker something other than a straight white male. He said, that's just who he is. That's how I created him. And unfortunately, that is not the case. That is not, the people who are running Marvel Comics aren't interested in consistency and preserving your vision, Stanley. They're interested in other things. They're interested in social commentary. They're interested in their ideology, and they're interested in identity politics. And therefore, everything that you created is just irrelevant. It's just a stepping stone for them to, jump up on, a platform for them to hop up on, and then just spread their arms up into the air as though they've won the Olympics. Hey, everyone, look at me. Virtue signaling how wonderful and inclusive I am at the expense of everything that you built and created with your life, which is now over. Now, George Lucas is still with us, thank God. But George Lucas, he created all of this wonderful stuff. And even though the prequel showed a little bit of creakiness, still his imagination there, his creative ideas, he's a little bit of a cornball, okay? In my opinion, George Lucas is a little bit of a cornball, and also I think he went through something where he decided that the Force should not be analogous to God and spiritualism. There should be a scientific explanation for the Force, which I have trouble with, and I think most people have trouble with. We always grew up with the Force being kind of analogous to spirituality and being in tune with God. And that not being the case anymore, it makes the prequel trilogy a little bit troublesome. He did the same thing with the Indiana Jones movies, of course. It's like, you notice that the first 3 Indiana Jones movies, Indiana Jones is seeking religious relics that actually do have the power of God. There is no scientific explanation for what the Ark of the Covenant does to those Nazis. The Shankara stone, that he captured, that he retrieves. No scientific explanation for that, and certainly the Cup of Christ. There's no scientific explanation for that either. They're all spiritual items, artifacts. And then in the 4th movie, what's he looking for? He's looking for proof of extraterrestrials. It's scientific, and people didn't like that. People didn't like that movie for a bunch of reasons. But I think at the heart of it, that is at the heart of the kind of disconnect people had with that movie. Even still, George Lucas flawed, kind of straying from his path. George Lucas, under all those circumstances, is still 500,000 times the creative force that Rian Johnson is, and that J.J. Abrams is. And I think J.J. Abrams might be the first to admit that. Rian Johnson would never admit that. Rian Johnson, not at all. But in any case, this is the thing. What's missing? What's missing is the beating heart of Star Wars, and that is George Lucas. And you've got a lot of people who think they can imitate it. They're just fans of Star Wars who have grown up and are now fanboying out, in some cases, all over the movie screens, getting control of these characters, and essentially either intentionally or accidentally ruining them. Simon, who once blasted the fandom menace as a jumped-up firework display of a toy advert, wow, good with words, Simon, did in fact star in The Force Awakens as bad boy Unkar Plutt. So what is his beef? What is your beef? What's the matter with you? The Hot Fuzz star came to an epiphany about how he felt about Lucas and his worldwide hit. He said, I must admit, watching the last Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, he's got a thing. He's got a bee in his bonnet about Rian Johnson. He totally does. When he talks about his disdain for The Last Jedi, all I hear is, J.J. Abrams is my friend, and we make fun of Ryan together. That's what I hear in all this. I must admit, watching the last Star Wars film, the overriding film I got when I came out was, I miss George Lucas. For all the complaining that I'd done about him in the prequels, there was something amazing about his imagination. Pegg, who has come to regret his very vocal Jar Jar hate, he did. Yeah, he apologized for hating on Jar Jar Binks when the actor who portrayed Jar Jar Binks, much to everyone's surprise, I didn't even know there was an actor who portrayed Jar Jar Binks, who people knew who he was. Jar Jar Binks was a CGI character, but I guess somebody had to make those, weird, he had to read those lines for Jar Jar, Misa, blah, blah, blah. Somebody had to do that, and that poor guy, he felt like he had a bad time because of it, and I think he attempted suicide. And Simon Pegg, he spent a lot of time making fun of him, and Simon is now apologizing for it. So he's been cast in a plethora of films by J.J. Abrams, they're best friends, aforementioned Mission Impossible, Star Trek, Star Wars, and we wonder how the director would react to his friend's closing comment on George Lucas's absence from the sequel trilogy. I do feel like his voice is missing from the current ones. As Jar Jar himself might say, Misa Oucha. Adam Buxton, who will reunite with his former comedy wife, blah, 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 who cares about that? Pegg recalled meeting the director at the premiere of 2005's Revenge of the Sith. I sort of went to say hello to him. He turned around and I saw the weariness in his eyes. Like, here's another 30-something fanboy who's going to tell me how much I changed his life. The spaceman continues. He was talking to Ron Howard. And I think he'd seen Shaun of the Dead because he immediately went, "Oh, hey, Shaun of the Dead," and shook my hand. And George Lucas immediately changed his demeanor. Well, that's good. Ron Howard's a good guy. Simon Pegg revealed that Lucas was candid with him, saying that the man behind the beloved space opera advised, "Don't be making the same film that you made 30 years ago, 30 years from now." We'll remind readers that Revenge of the Sith came out 28 years after the Star Wars film, so just under the wire. Simon Pegg, I wouldn't mind if you remade Shaun of the Dead in 30 years. It was a good movie. It would be good as a remake. But yeah, that is the thing. George Lucas, creative man, beaten down by the expectations of other people. I don't know. I don't know how I felt. You know, when I saw the original, when I saw the prequel trilogy, I thought the first one was a really, really good movie that was filled with silliness. There were just silly moments, punctuated. They were for kids. There were these punctuations of complete and total silliness with Jar Jar Binks and stuff that were just meant for the kids. I still enjoyed the movies. I still enjoyed the prequel trilogy. And yeah, I mean, the heart of George Lucas is not something that can be imitated, even by his biggest fans. And Simon, I totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. George Lucas, sorry for everything. All is forgiven. Come on back anytime you're ready. Hey, want to follow me on Twitter? Okay, cool. I'm at Ethan Van Sciver. Talk to you there. Join the fandom menace and execute your own Order 66 with our incredible line of t-shirts, Soylo, a Soy Wars story, Tico, a Soy Wars story, and our brand new smoking hot Soy Wars Plan 9. Make a statement today. This is the only trilogy you'll ever need. The link is below in the description. If you enjoyed this video and want to become part of this community, subscribe to this channel by clicking the laughing man face logo right on your screen. Ring the bell for notifications as well. You'll never miss a live chat. And stay tuned, another video by Comic Artist Pro Secrets is coming right up.